What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy,
And I'm your host, Sonu.
and we've got lots to talk about today now that we're a week into the season. And of course, the last two games against the Astros, we want to go over all of that. We specifically held our podcast off one extra day so we could talk about the entire series. But really quickly, do us a favor, check us out on all of our social media at Dodger Yard, and you can find me at Randy_Radcliffe.
And you can find my Instagram and Twitter at Michael Conan.
And then, as always, we do appreciate everyone's reviews and ratings on the show on Apple Podcasts. So thank you guys. Keep it coming. And with that said, well, let's get into all of the good stuff. First things first, last week on Wednesday, we were recording our podcast. And if you read the title of it, you will see that we asked if Mookie Betts would be a Dodger for his career, however long the extension would be for. And of course, right after we put our podcast out, name it, put it out there, Mookie Betts signs a 12-year extension for a $365 million. So we were freaking out on the podcast about how he might sign a contract, put the editing together, get it up, and then boom, he signs a 12-year extension through the 2032 season. $115 million of his contract will be deferred, and he will be getting paid by the Dodgers through 2044. The deal does not include any opt-outs or a no-trade clause. He had a signing bonus that was $65 million, which is not taxable for him as a non-California resident. So great on him. Smart business move with everything going on. He also signed, I believe it was for 2021 and 2022. His salary is a little bit lower than you would expect for someone like him. So this signing bonus kind of takes care of that, as well as gives him some stability with the pandemic and everything going on. And because he's such a great person, as part of his contract, he will be donating $100,000 to the Dodgers Foundation each year. So congratulations to Mookie Betts. I believe she is his fiance. If it's wife, my apologies, but congrats to them. And of course, he has his daughter, so congrats to the whole Betts family. Amazing for them. And you know what? He might have gotten the $365 million, but I gotta say, this is probably an even better deal for us Dodger fans, because he was probably gonna get a good chunk of money no matter where he went. So I'm glad we at least get the win out of this, and we get to keep him for what's probably going to be the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I
was going to say,
no, go ahead, because we're probably both going the same place, so go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say, because of his low salary in 21-22 being 17 and a half, that gives the Dodgers a little more flexibility should they want to, instead of it being 30 plus million, what's that, 13 million more you have to, let's say, maybe resign Trinan or something like that, if that should arise. So it gives them a little more flexibility to find other players as well.
Yeah, it was a smart move, I think, all around. And I don't know the total ins and outs of how all of it works, but if he gets traded, it sounds like the money is no longer deferred and will be added back onto his contract, which is also a great deal for the Dodgers, because then they're not stuck like paying him on the back end of anything down the line. So I'm happy with it. I know a lot of people, usually I do not like these kind of extensions. It's so long. Anything can happen, and baseball is guaranteed money. So it is risky. But the thing is, with a player like Betts, I knew that there was no way we were going to get him without doing something ridiculous like this. So it was kind of already a given. And I feel a lot better about a position player than I do a pitcher. I just feel like there's less risk there. He's playing every day, so obviously that sounds like more risk, but I feel like you get more bang for your buck out of a position player. He plays every day. If they need him to DH, he can. So you're not really going to worry about throwing out his shoulder in a game or something like that could really just throw his career totally off course. So I'm happy with it. I've had a lot of people bring this up, so I'm just going to say it because I'm tired of people thinking they're holding it against me, because they're not. Yes, I had plenty of negative things to say about Mookie Betts' playoff numbers before the trade was made. I did not like the idea of having a player with bad playoff numbers come in, but you know what? He's on our team now, and I'm going to have his back, and I'm happy with it. He's a generational player. He's a hell of a player, and you know what? all of us fans get emotional when it comes to talking about trade talks and what could and couldn't happen. So for that being said, I'm happy Mookie's on our team.
I get that part, but like you said, he's a generational player, and with those type of players, you kind of just have to let them ride it out. Bellinger hasn't been all that great either, but you kind of just have to let them ride it out, and hopefully they can find whatever it is to up their ante in the playoffs. I am happy he's here. Like so. Well, I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry. But with this extension now, this should put all the fans on the fence about the trade to rest. Like I know a lot of people didn't like it at first, but now that he signed the extension, it's time to let the rest of it go. Hop on board. Betts will be here, hopefully, for the rest of his career. And that's great news.
Oh, yeah. And I've been telling you since day one, all I needed out of this trade for me to go, screw it, I don't care, was bring home a World Series or sign that extension. We got that extension. So for me, the trade that happened, like, that's gone. It's in the back of my head. It doesn't even matter anymore because I got what I wanted out of the trade. The reason why I felt the way I did was because it was a 1-year rental when it was all being talked about. But with that being said, if he brought us a World Series championship, which I see happening in the next 13 years, or the Dodgers pulled off an extension like this, then it was going to be 100% worth it. So I am all on board. I've got no complaints. Even if his playoff numbers aren't great, there are always the intangibles that just someone like him being on the team is good for the morale of the team, the chemistry of the team, and the way guys play the game. They all step their game up when you play around a guy like him. So it's not always about playoff numbers. And we see guys a lot who switch teams and things change. I just have all the confidence in the world with, I know we don't see it from our guys in the playoffs with these hitting coaches, but I've really been a fan of this new kind of philosophy the hitting coaches are going by and the way the guys are swinging the bats. Let's not put this on record for these last 4 games. Don't hold that against me. But overall, I've been very happy with what these guys have done with the offense. So I don't see Mookie staying that way his entire career. I think he's going to have big games for the Dodgers. He's going to have his big moments come playoffs, whatever the case may be. And even if he doesn't, I'm not going to regret the trade. I'm still going to be there riding with Mookie because once you put that Dodger blue on, like it besides maybe Madison Bumgarner, once you put that Dodger blue on, like it doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to support you. You're going to get my fan. I already bought my jersey, so it's all good. I don't even care anymore.
I have a question for you. You said that once you put on a Dodger uniform, then except for Madison Bumgarner, but what if like George Springer would have signed the Dodgers offseason? How would you feel about that?
Well, no, all Astros are off the table. That's just like, that's all off the table. I really don't think that front office would do this to the fan base or the chemistry of the locker room. Maybe previous GMs, but I don't think this one would do that. I just think it would be way too risky. I would rather chance the chemistry and hate for Bumgarner before they went someone like the Astros. I'd be more willing.
Well, actually, I think the players like Bumgarner more than
as a player, I think. As a person, I think the players like him. I think there's just that tension on the field. As a person, I'm not sure there's many Astros that people actually like. So if there was one I was going to get over first, I guarantee it would be Bumgarner because that's a baseball rivalry thing where the Astros is kind of like on a human disrespect kind of level. Like you just trashed the sport. This isn't even about a rivalry. You disrespected our players. You disrespected our fan base. You disrespected every team and every fan base that they've played throughout these last couple of years. So it's just like a totally different level for me when it gets into that. But
agreed.
Yeah. So with that said, we shall move on because we're going to talk about the Astros in a little bit. Don't need to spend too much time on them. Very unfortunate news, as everybody already knows now. On Thursday, just hours before first pitch of the season, Kershaw was placed on the IL with back stiffness. Because of this, May was recalled. We'll get into that in a few minutes. He injured his back working out on Tuesday, doing workouts he says he's been doing for years now. He had an MRI. It came back clean. Threw a bullpen session on Tuesday in Houston, and Robert said he came out of it feeling well. He's going to throw another session today on Thursday. I'm assuming he's with the team in Arizona since he was with the team in Houston. And then they will evaluate and go from there. And Roberts does expect him to be back in the rotation sooner than later. I'm not 100% sure, but it almost sounds like if he can have another good bullpen session today, that the next step might be either getting him ready for a game or like getting him ready for a sim game to face some guys. So hopefully within the next week, we have a date set by the next time we're recording a podcast as to when he'll be coming back. Because I do have confidence in the young guys, but it's nice to have that reassurance that you're not having to use the young guys because you have no other options versus the young guys earn their spot, so they deserve to be in there. But
I wanted to say, like, okay, so I want to preface this by saying that Kershaw's still a good pitcher, but ever since he had the first or second back injury, I personally haven't felt comfortable with him on the mound. I just don't know what version of Kershaw I'm going to get. For the most part, I think he's been fine, but obviously it's a far cry from what, the Kershaw we're used to seeing. I don't know if we're going to get like that Kershaw with the long first innings that they score a couple runs, or the ones where he strikes out like 12 people but gives up 2 or 3 home runs like he did against the Yankees, or the one where he gives up 1 run in 7 innings. So it's a little. I know Kershaw fans are going to be upset. I'm sorry. I still love the guy. But in any case, I do hope he's healthy. But like as I said to you in the past, back injuries are tricky and they'll just keep popping up.
yeah, and that's a big concern with it. I feel that way too. I also, though, come back to kind of like the Mookie thing. I just think Kershaw makes everyone else around him compete. So even when he's rolling out there and giving us 6-7 innings of 2-3 run ball, I mean, I'm happy with that. I don't personally see him as our number 1 pitcher. However, I do 100% believe that he deserves a spot in that rotation with who's in there right now. And not to be an asshole, but to move on to our next kind of injury update, Alex Wood. So I would much rather have Kershaw in there, I think as every other fan would, over Alex Wood. One of them's going to be coming back soon. I'm preferring it to be Kershaw because then I feel like I don't know who goes at that point. I don't know if it's Stripling who goes or May. I feel like it has to be.
It can't be Stripling at this point.
I was going to say, I think it has to be May because May's not going deep into games just yet. I could still see May coming out of the bullpen for maybe 3-4 innings, whether it's working behind Kershaw on his first start. I think May would be the first guy to be up if something happens. But we're just not getting the depth out of him. And with Wood possibly returning, I would rather Kershaw beat him back so that way Stripling is still in there and Stripling still has a chance to keep his rotation spot instead of Wood coming back first. And then you're like, okay, who do we pull out, Wood or Strip? Like, I just, the way it kind of falls, I just want Kershaw back really bad because I think it's going to work out better for the rotation. Just the way this kind of team works. But with that said, we don't even know when Wood's going to be coming back because on Tuesday he was placed on the IL with shoulder inflammation. Because of that, Josh Spores was recalled. Wood had said his shoulder's been hurting him for a couple weeks now, but he thought he could make his first start. I know a lot of fans were upset with Robert. I'm assuming it was Roberts they were upset with. I saw, like, why did he pitch? Why did he pitch? I was on that same boat. Don't know why he pitched if he was having pain in his shoulder. Like, it's your shoulder. You shouldn't be throwing if there's pain. However, listening to Robert's interview, it almost sounded like he had no idea Wood was hurt. Like, the way he talked about it was like, oh, I was informed that his shoulder has been hurting for a couple weeks. So I don't know if Wood had been very quiet about it with the pitching staff and was just like, oh, it's fine. It's just a little sore. I'm getting back into my kind of groove. We're good. Or what happened. But for me personally, it sounded like Roberts didn't even know, which kind of frustrates me a little bit more because in a 60-game season, we can't afford people going out there and playing through injuries and having it potentially cost the team games.
Right.
And that's unfortunately what happened with the Giants. Granted, you could blame it on the offense as well, but he did give up a good chunk of runs, so it falls on both ends of the spectrum. They don't know when he's going to be back. Roberts expects him to come back soon. The scan of his shoulder came back clean. Obviously, I want Wood healthy. I never want guys to be unhealthy because I want a different guy out there on the mound. I just would be lying if I didn't say I'm okay with him taking his time to get back, because I've been very happy with what I'm seeing from guys like Stripling and May. It's no disrespect to Wood. I like the guy. I understood the signing a little bit. But I never felt too good about here you get a rotation spot, and he kind of didn't really have to earn it, in my opinion. Like, he kind of was just given it from day one.
He was 100% given that.
And
yeah.
So I don't want to beat up on Wood. I don't want to get into that. It's the Dodgers signed the contract. They're the ones who made the commitment to him. So he's doing what he was told to do. It is up to now the front office and the team to figure out where he fits best. However, I've been happy with May and Stripling. And just that way we don't keep coming back around with Wood. Do you want to jump into this and you can actually talk about May? We'll get into the starting pitchers and what we've been seeing a little bit since he pitched on opening day.
I'm going to sum up both of May starts instead of going one by one. It's been a bit of a mixed bag for me personally. I think he's done a good job at limiting damage, but his command has not been great. Everything I saw him work on at camp has not come out yet. I feel like he's going back to what he was doing last year, just relying on the hard sinker and the cutter. Now, yesterday against the Astros, he did throw some nasty sliders to strike out some lefties, but he's got to mix his pitches better. Like, I don't feel like he's comfortable yet with his slider and changeup, but if he is, that's only going to help him be more efficient and put away batters better, because yesterday the batters just kept, was it yesterday? Yes, they kept telling him, there's a lot of foul balls, so he couldn't really put them away and get his pitch count up. Now, what I have seen him do well is he's getting ground balls, which is good. He's throwing hard. He had, 3 pitches at 100 miles an hour against the Giants in that first inning, and he didn't have a 100-mile-an-hour pitch at all last year. So I need for him to get comfortable with mixing his pitches better. Like, right now, he's good enough to get through, but there's a next level he can reach. And I know it doesn't happen like on my time or fans' time. He's only 22, so he's still very young. But if he can throw that changeup that he was doing in camp that was striking everybody out, or the slider that got Beatty and people looking dumb, if he throws that more and throws it in, he's going to be a much better pitcher. We'll get 6 to 7 innings out of him with 1 run, maybe 2 runs, instead of 3 innings with just 1 run. So, like, you were working on that changeup for a reason. So throw the damn thing, man. I know I'm coming off frustrated. To be fair, he's been fine, but he could be better. So that's what's a little frustrating.
So you're taking it like I did with Bueller. You have really high hopes for him, and you know what he's capable of, so you get frustrated watching him pitch. That's how I am with some of the guys. And like you said, it doesn't come on our time. There's so much that we don't know how these guys are feeling. Yeah. I think what's hard with May is, like, for us, and I'm sure him and the team, there's that urgency of, hey, it's a 60-game season, so we need you at your best, where in reality it's kind of unfair to him, because I'm that way too. It's kind of unfair to him because it's like it's not his fault that it's a 60-game season, and if he screws up a little bit, it could be this way bigger deal than it should. So it is kind of a bummer that happened, because I feel like had this been a normal 162 season, he would be working on that more in the minors versus trying to get that work in at the big league level and also make sure he's not blowing up games. So it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation, but like you said, there were things I liked about it as well. So I have a lot of hope that he's going to figure it out. Hopefully just this year would be nice, but either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, he's only 22, so he's still got plenty of time, still very young. Even if it's not at the point where I would want him to throw it, at the percentage point I would want him to throw it, he still needs to mix it in just a little bit more, just to keep batters honest, because at this point they're just going to sit on the cutter and fastball or sinker, and I know he throws hard and it moves a lot, but these are professional hitters. They will start timing it. And luckily, the Astros just kept fouling it off, but at some point, the players are going to start adjusting, and it's going to end up like it was last year. So that's all I'm saying. Okay, so Ross Stripling has continued to look good. He looked good in spring. He looked good in camp. He looked good his first game. We went 7 innings, just gave 1 run. Now, the thing I like about Strickland is he doesn't throw the hardest. Like I think his fastball's clocked at like 91, 92 miles an hour. But I think he gets it consistently up in the zone. And when you add on to the fact that he throws his curve and changeup a lot, when he does throw that 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the zone, it looks a lot faster than what it is. He's able to get batters to pop out or swing through it. And Stripling has really good command of all his pitches, and clearly it's working for him right now because he's looked like the best starting pitcher the Dodgers have. So Wood, you kind of touched on him earlier, did not look good, has not looked good. And apparently now we know why, because of his shoulder. Like you said, I don't think he's earned his spot. He's kind of just giving it to him. You said you understood the signing a little bit. I didn't. I know they wanted like a veteran person in there. I was cool with going with Gonsolin on May because they're better pitchers. But whatever the case may be, I hope he gets healthy because, like you said, I don't want players to be hurt. Moving on to Julio.
Quick second. I do
yeah.
have something to say. I understand the signing. I don't agree with it. That's all I wanted to say.
Got it.
So I'm with you on the same page. I would have rather been a young guy. I understand what they were trying to do, but I was okay with it when it happened. Now I'm feeling a little bit different about it, seeing that we could have had guys like, I didn't expect Josiah Gray to be where he was at. I didn't expect Mitchell White. Maybe the team didn't either. So who knows? But yeah, I like the guy. I don't want to sit here and bash him. I like the guy. I just hope that when he comes back from the shoulder injury, they're going to have in him what they were hoping to get.
One thing I would hope is that would help the team.
Yeah.
So as far as Julio goes, Julio struggled with his command a bit. He walked 3 batters in 5 innings, and the leadoff man got on every inning. So for me, he relied too much on his fastball, but maybe he did because his command wasn't really there with the changing curve. He did do well limiting the damage, but like he needs to get his command under control to truly be successful for longer stints. You had mentioned Walker Buehler a bit. I thought he was fine. I think they could have kept him in there a bit longer for at least a batter. The first 2 innings I thought were really solid. He did run into some bit of a trouble, but for the most part, I thought his stuff looked pretty good. And once he gets built up, I think he's going to be fine. The relief pitchers, let's knock on wood, they've been the stars of this season so far. I don't think there's any debate about it. And given the position they were put in yesterday, great job by Scott Alexander and Dennis Santana. Santana did struggle against the Giants, but who cares? He came up huge against the Astros yesterday.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah.
What?
I said, yeah, that was insane by Santana. I was not expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting that from the entire bullpen, but Santana, I
gotta be honest. When he came in, I was scared. I was like, "Oh, this game's over."
Yeah, and it's Santana's up and coming. He's been good. It's nothing against that. I just think for us fans, there was so much on the line with that game that it was like, oh no, what's gonna happen here? And it's like I wasn't
like a playoff game.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna blame him either way because the offense, my God, that was disgusting. But it was just it was nerve-wracking to say the least because it felt like such a huge game. But man, the fact that those guys were able, especially the young guys, were able to step up for this team against the Astros that they have no history against, but knew how much it meant to the fan base and their teammates, showed a lot about how this team is and how the organization is. It's not about who was there and who wasn't. It's they're in it together as a team.
I agree. Alexander as well. He was good with the Royals. He came over. He hasn't been all that great, kind of injured. but yesterday he really came up big. So yeah, thank you, Scott Alexander. But everyone in the bullpen has pretty much done a good job. Ferguson has been, language, he's been lights out. Like wow. Jake McGee, I'm sorry, you've been good as well. Trinan has looked filthy. Just overall, again, knock on wood, the Dodgers bullpen has been stellar so far this year. I really couldn't be happier with what they've done.
You know what I find extremely ironic is like fans have been waiting. I mean, we've had our years. I think as fans, we overlook it. We've had our years where this bullpen's been pretty decent. I don't know if we've seen what we're seeing right now. Like, I think there was a time, I don't remember if it was 2017, whatever it was, where the bullpen was going like some stupid amount of innings without giving up a run or only gave up one run. But I just find it so ironic that we have like the best lineup we've ever seen, and yet it's our bullpen that's outshining everyone. Like we can't rely on our lineup right now. We're literally relying on our bullpen to hold it down and just hoping and praying like someone comes up and gets that hit with a runner on second like Rios did, because it was not going our way all night long.
No. The Dodgers are 4-2 because the bullpen has kept the other teams at bay.
Yep.
So, speaking of the lineup, let's get into the hitters. Okay, so Max Muncy, he struck out like 7 times in 6 games, which is terrible for anybody, and especially for Muncy, who has good play discipline. But his bats have been so inconsistent. There are some pitches where his play discipline is there, you can see him tracking the ball, and there's others where he tracks the ball but swings outside of the zone anyway. He was doing this during spring training where he was just chasing and wasn't looking great. Came back during camp, he looked really good, but so far he is not off to the best of starts. I have to write an article about him, so I'll get deeper into what I've been seeing in that. The $365 million man, Mookie Betts. I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people are going to disagree because they paid him all this money, but I think he's been fine. He's only batting 208. Yes, I get it. But I think his approach has been fine. He's been a victim a little bit because he's hit the ball hard quite a few times. I've seen him drive pitches to the warning track a bunch. He's hitting hard grounders. So he's making good barrel contact. And at this point, I think the hits will start coming. I can see him getting frustrated, but I think he should stay the course because honestly, I think he's on the right track. Cody Bellinger, pop out. At this point, that's all he does is pop out. I think his approach seems to be fine because he's only struck out twice, I think, this whole time, which is really good for Bellinger because he strikes out a lot. But his swing path is a little off. As a rule of thumb, you want to hit under the ball, but he's getting too far under the ball. So you want to hit the bottom half of the ball, but he's starting to swing like completely under the ball, which is why he's popping out. He's also still pulling off way too early, so he needs to stay in there and start driving pitches the other way, and maybe that'll get him going. Justin Turner, to no one's surprise, he's had the most hits. He's been pretty good, minus yesterday. But then again, yesterday was the worst display of offense I've seen in a long time. I think I even texted you that it was awful. I told you that they would come out flat, but fudge, flat was an understatement. That was terrible. But off of that, overall, I think Turner has looked pretty comfortable at the plate. Still no power as of yet, but that usually comes later anyway, so not really surprising there. Corey Seager, much like Mookie Betts, has been a victim of hitting the ball hard, but it's kind of like at people. He's had a really good approach. He's put very nice things on the ball. His timing is there. He's barreling up the ball very well. So I can't complain about Seager's at bats. Except for the swing at the first pitch, but at this point, that's just the way he is. But other than that, I think he's good. Chris Taylor, the results haven't been there, but I think he's only struck out 2 or 3 times, and that was yesterday, of course. But I think he's been fine at the plate. He's lined out quite a bit. he's hit the ball hard up the middle, but because of the shift, it's right at somebody. So I think he needs to stay where he is, and I think he'll be okay. Kike Hernandez, everybody's favorite. He struck out 6 or 7 times this game, so that's not great. He hasn't hit the ball all that hard, not even in his first game. His first game was a bunch of group singles. And then, of course, he had the home run, which was indeed hit hard. After the first game, his at-bats have been very bad. He's chased pitches. He's popped up a bunch. Um, I feel like his at-bats just aren't competitive. I'm not sure if he's not taking up the ball. He's kind of just going up there, looking at a few and swinging. And honestly, I am sick and tired of having to watch him hit versus right-handers. It could be just me, but I'm tired of it.
No, that seems to be the general consensus now against right-handers. I've seen a couple fans comment when we post the lineups. A couple fans are like, "Oh, where's Kike?" But I'm starting to notice there is a frustration kind of coming around Kike because it seems like, unfortunately for him, it seems like he keeps coming up in these big spots, and besides the first game, he's just not coming through. I'm looking at his stats right now, and it's funny because he actually, not that this stat means anything, but it's just funny because we're talking about him not really getting on base much outside of those first, but like he leads the lead, like all majors in runs scored this season. So there's something about him getting on base that he's getting home.
Yeah.
But whatever the case is, yeah, I was very happy with Kike the first game. Second game was okay, but I think that was more so just the high off the first game. But yeah, I think there's better
This has always been my thing
options.
with Kike, though.
Yeah, I know.
He has his good games, but the more he's out there, the more he's going to get exposed. Stop doing it. I don't. At this point, it's frustrating. Like, I cannot be the only person that sees this. They are smarter baseball people than I am, and I'm noticing this. Why are you continuing to put him out there every day? It does not work. Stop. I've had enough. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, you just hate Kike anyway." Fine, I don't, but that's fine. I just don't think he's that good of a baseball player. But for you Kike fans, good news, because I've just publicly criticized him. He's not going to prove me wrong. He's going to have a big week, so can't wait to see that.
That is also a big thing. I think a lot of fans have weirdly figured out that they like to talk shit on Kike because he somehow comes through whenever it happens. So
always, except for I thought that's what it was going to be, and so I kept talking shit on him after the first game, and it's just been bad. So at this point, I'm like, oh, this isn't working anymore. But then again, I wasn't talking out loud. I was kind of to myself, and now that I put this out to the public, he's going to have these next 4 games against the Diamondbacks, he'll go 6-10 or some shit.
Good. We need it. I don't care who does it. I cannot have another series like the one against the Astros and the 2 last games against the Giants. I don't care who is out there doing it. I need this offense to hit because I have not enjoyed actually sitting there and watching the Dodgers hit for like the last 4 games. Like, it has just been like me wanting to pull out my hair and be like, can we just get to the pitchers? Because at least it's fun watching our pitchers. Like, this offense has been so hard to watch with these last few games.
That's fair. I haven't felt that way except for yesterday. I think for the most part, from what I've seen,
you enjoy at bats though. That's not.
I do
like,
enjoy it. I enjoy
normal. Like, most fans don't enjoy watching good at bats. Like, don't get me wrong. I love watching an at bat when we can see a guy go out there, foul off 8-9 strikes and 8-9 pitches, and even come away with a walk or a single. But like, you love like looking really deeply into their swings, where I just don't have. I don't do that, and I'm just like, I just want the action. Like last night, I started to have fun when Mookie hit that double, and we started like, it's just. I think after what we saw in the exhibition games, like my standards are just so high. Like I just want to have that fun again because I had so much fun those first 2 games against the Giants. So now it's just been like polar opposite.
That's fair. And like I was saying, they haven't scored a lot of runs. Yesterday being the outlier, but the at-bats have actually been fine. They hit the ball hard. It's just been at people.
Yeah.
Nothing you can really do about that. So
I will give them that.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't know what yesterday was, but I'm glad that's over with.
Yeah, I will give them that. They are hitting the ball hard. So.
Yeah. On to the next player, AJ Mother effing Pollock. Sir, it's only been
Oh,
12 at bats.
he's making me so happy. Everybody,
He's
oh.
got 6 hits in these at bats. They've all been hit hard, singles, doubles. He's showing patience. He will occasionally chase, but it's baseball. It happens. He's barreled up the ball well. And I really hope he continues where he's at because I know a lot of people just like to talk shit about him all the time. And it makes me happy when he just goes up there, gets a single, gets a double, drives in some runs, and now I'm looking at people like, what's up now?
Yeah.
Like, I think you even tweeted when he went 3 for 4 that one day, and you were like, "Oh, AJ Pollock got another hit."
I was annoyed. I was annoyed. I posted the lineup on Dodger Yard Instagram and Twitter and literally responded to every single person. Why is Pollock in there? Why not Jock? Every single person. It's a lefty. Pollock's been doing well. Give him a chance. No, I don't want Pollock in there. Stopped responding after that point because I don't want to argue with people like that. I want fans to have their opinion. That's fine. I'll argue with people like that on my personal account, but not the Dodger Yard one. So yes, that was a little moment for me that I had to take a jab because all those people were in my mentions, not leaving me alone, saying that Pollock should not be playing. And then he went like 3 for 5 or 3 for 4 that night. However, who's ever hitting behind him needs to figure it out because that dude's been on base 6, 7, 8 times and he's scored 1 run. So whoever's hitting behind him needs to figure it out. Because he's getting on base almost more than anyone else, and no one's driving him home. So let's figure that part out.
I think at this point, it's kind of need to be Pollock versus lefties, Jock versus righties, and your goal there. So yeah, very happy with Pollock, and I hope it continues. We're playing the Diamondbacks tonight. Your former team, if you're playing, go off. Hopefully, if not, I know a lot of people are going to be like, see, this is why I shouldn't play. And then I'm like, yeah, okay.
He owned Robbie Ray last time we played him last year. Isn't that the game he hit the home run? I'm pretty sure last season, that opening series, it was against Robbie Ray. He hit the home run because Robbie Ray's a left-hander. And I remember he went off that first series last year. And that was in L.A. It's a lot easier to hit at Chase Field than it is at Dodger Stadium.
It is, yeah.
So I hope I hope he's in that lineup tonight, and I hope he kills it because he's feeling good. He's got that new dad. He's got that new dad power. He's got that new dad power. So I'm all for it.
He just has that new dad power, and I'm glad his daughter's home.
Same here. Congratulations to them. I don't think we talked about it on last week's episode. I don't think it had happened yet, but congratulations to the Pollocks. They brought their daughter Maddie home. She was born premature, and this last weekend, the reason we did not see Pollock pinch hit or come out in the game was because he got to finally spend his first day with his wife and his daughter together, bringing her home from the hospital. So big congratulations. Happy they're all doing great. And happy Pollock came back and was able to be back with the team for those games.
And I remember, I was very irritated why he wasn't in the lineup of playing. I completely get it now. I'm sorry for being so frustrated. I should probably take a step back and wait till all the information comes out.
That's how we have to take 2020. 2020 is a little wild. I'm going to give Roberts a day or two before criticizing his decisions because there might be something we don't know. So usually I get it. People are like, hey, what happened? What's going on? But 2020 has been a little weird, so I'm trying to kind of draw that back and give them a day or two to give me an answer before I go and get all pissed off.
I'm going to try that. But all right, so moving on, we're going to Rios and Beatty. They've barely got any at bat, so there's really not much to say. But shout out to Rios for yesterday. Thank you so much.
You got that at bat when it mattered.
I was very excited. As soon as he hit it, I was like, oh, that's gone. There was no question about it.
Oh, he knew it too.
Oh, absolutely. When he does his little wave swing thing at the end, I was like, oh, it's over. So yeah, thank you, Rios, for somebody finally doing something. Although earlier in the game, I got to be honest, I thought Mookie hit a 3-run home run. I got a little excited, but then
that wall.
It was that double. Yeah, if he moved it over to more left field, it would have been a home run. But it's okay.
It sucked too because he hit it so hard that I forget who it was, but the runner on first didn't get to score when usually they would. Usually Muncy scores on something like that, but he hit it so hard that Muncy
Which
just
is
did
weird,
not.
because he's so round, but he's so fast.
Yeah, Muncy impresses me. He has the hops and dives, and like that dude is way too athletic for how he looks. But I like it. I'm impressed by it. But yeah, that was a bummer because Mookie did that, and I'm like, dope. We're gonna take a 2-run lead, and then I'm like, oh shit! Like he hit that ball way too hard. There was no way Muncy. Like it almost wouldn't have mattered who was on base. It might not have been worth chancing it. Although
score wasn't gonna score because he smoked that ball.
Yeah. And then he got to second and he smacked that ass while he was at it too.
Yeah.
He's already hopping into Dodger culture so fast. Spending too much time around Kike. No,
a little bit,
but I like it. I like it. Yeah, it was fun. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So
now we get to as bad as our lineup's been, this is still the worst part. We get to Barnes and Smith. So, yikes, I think is the appropriate way to put it, or to say the least. It's not been good at bats from either of them. Smith has hit the ball harder, but not by much. They are both combined 3 for 22. Smith has 1 hit, his home run. Barnes has 2 hits somehow. I feel like most of the pitchers would rather pitch to Barnes, which isn't really a great sign for Smith. He'll still get his games, but not as much as he should. Like when Grandal was here, Barnes would only play when Kershaw pitched. Now there's a legit split in games. So whatever it is about Smith that they're just not comfortable with, he needs to figure it out, because I would prefer him in the lineup despite how bad he's been.
Well, he's obviously the future when you look at it. So having him in there and him figuring out is very important. So that part I do understand. They do need to figure something out, because you're either going to keep him or you're going to trade him when it's Ruiz's time. But Barnes, I guess Smith is the future, but I didn't realize Barnes still has 2 more arbitration years left on his contract. So they're both still going to be around for a while. So I always wonder if they're trying to kind of get Barnes going to showcase him, to trade him. If there's something like you had mentioned, I think over text last night, something defensively that they have. When you look at that lineup, it is so stacked that it kind of wouldn't surprise me if they're saying screw it for the 9 spot. Like, we just want our best catcher in there whoever works best with that pitcher. Like, these 8 other guys should be able to figure it out. It's just unfortunately not working that way, because if it was working that way, we probably wouldn't even be talking about Smith and Barnes. But because the rest of the lineup is not,
I would be, because I pay more attention to at bats. But
but I think a lot more people would be willing to kind of move past Barnes and Smith a little bit and not be so like, why aren't they hitting, if the rest of the lineup was on top of it. So I've always been more on the side, and I think it's because I'm a Dodger fan and we have the lineups we do. I've always been more on the side. I want my catcher to be a better catcher than I do. I'd rather the catcher be a better catcher than have an average catcher who can hit well, because I just think that catcher.
You rather Barnes start.
Yeah, but the thing is it just, if we go back to last year, I would have wanted Smith. Even when Smith was starting to slump, I still liked the hard contact he was making. Right now, yes, I would take Barnes' defense, because Smith just isn't doing enough with the bat for me, because I don't think Smith's defense is much. It's not that far below Barnes. Like, I think Smith's defense is you're willing to kind of take that sacrifice for his bat, but his bat isn't doing enough that you're going to be like, okay, your defense might not be as good, and your repertoire with the pitchers might not be as good, but you're giving us better at bats, but Smith really isn't. So yes, right now I would prefer Barnes to be in there, because he's just the better catcher defensively.
Yeah, and that's fine. I still have high hopes for Kybert, so both of them can leave, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to happen. But that's just my wishful thinking.
But yeah, I like Kybert. I kind of wished he was on the taxi squad, but I get it. I want him to get his at-bats at the alternate site, so I understand why Gale is on there. It wouldn't be surprising to me, though, if that switches at some point. Because I think we all know that Rocky Gale does not hit baseballs. Yeah, so.
No.
But, anyways.
He keeps getting jobs, so.
Yeah.
He's doing something
He's
right.
doing something right. It's just something behind the plate, I think.
Yeah.
But that was it on position players, correct?
That's correct.
All right, then I'm going to get us moving a little bit. Roberts.
Terrence Gore came in to pinch run for no reason.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing. I would have been okay with whoever was on third to just stay there because that was Pollock's at bat. Pollock. Yeah. So, question. Now that we've seen it happen, I'm actually going to stop you. Now that we've seen it happen, do you hate or like the extra inning thing?
In theory, it should make games go faster. Yesterday was brutal because both teams fucking sucked. Honestly, it's better than what I thought it was going to be. I know a lot of people still hate it. That's fine. I'm still indifferent on it. I would prefer this over the home run derby. I know it's going to make a lot of people like, wait, what? But yeah, the home run derby is a dumb idea to me. This still at least feels semi like baseball, so I'll go with this 100% of the time. It's whatever. I thought the game was going to be over rather quickly when the Dodgers didn't score, and then the Astros came up. I was like, oh, game's over, cool, we get to move on. Nope, it just kept going. So hopefully in time, I'm assuming the Dodgers will get better at hitting. They have to. It'll go by much faster. But yeah, yesterday it was brutal. Yesterday.
I was on the same fence where I was kind of indifferent. I was like, okay, it's not that bad. But last night I was watching the game with my guy, and he kind of made a very good point that I didn't think about. Is you're no longer like, let's say the Dodgers get a 1-run lead. Cool. Whatever. They have a 1-run lead. You're no longer worrying about just giving up that leadoff home run to tie the game. You're now worrying about giving up that 2-run shot that cost you the game, and you did nothing to put that runner on second. So it's literally the Edwin Rios thing that happened last night. If the roles were switched and that was the Astros and that was the home team and that's how they won, I would have been pissed because we wouldn't have had a chance to come back. They didn't earn that runner on second. We didn't earn that runner on second, but the Astros still had a chance to at least come back and do the same thing. But yeah, had the roles been reversed, I think I would have been pretty pissed off because you don't earn that runner on second. And if you just happen to have a guy who comes up and hits a home run versus a guy who hits a single and drives that run home, they're still doing their jobs. But now the other team's getting an extra run on top of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really like it. I don't really think it didn't speed the game up, if you really think about it. It didn't. Both teams got runs.
Because the offense was so
terrible. Yeah, but both teams, the only runs they got were that extra run. Then nobody earned a run until Rios hit a home run. The Astros didn't earn their run. We didn't earn that run because the guy was already on base. Right.
But in theory, when the offenses are doing what they're supposed to do, the game would have been over a long time ago.
Yeah, it just might not have gone the way we wanted it to, but yeah, it could have.
And you know what? At this point, I don't care. I hate the home run derby. It makes little to no sense to me.
I just hate not playing regular baseball, but as long as it sticks in 2020, I can deal with it. I can get over it for 60 games, keep it out of playoffs, which they already said they would. I can deal with it, but don't ever make this like a permanent thing in baseball because then I'll get mad. I can deal with it for 1 year, but that's it.
No, next year, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll happen. I don't think the players will want it to happen either. With that said, Taxi Squad. Roberts named the Dodgers Taxi Squad on Tuesday, which included Zach McKinstry, Rocky Gale, and Victor Gonzalez. He also discussed Tony Gonsolin, Mitchell White, Josiah Gray, and Victor Gonzalez all being candidates to start for the Dodgers. We don't know who's pitching tomorrow yet. It's kind of sounding like it could be a bullpen game. It could be any of the guys just mentioned. However, they would have to be put on the roster, which means someone else would have to be optioned. So I don't know if they're going to go that route. We will have to wait and see. With that said, the last Dodger thing we're going to talk about, and probably the most, I don't know if I'd say important, but most interesting, was a good old Joe Kelly and Astros incident that happened on Tuesday night. So quickly, everyone knows what happens, but just to kind of get to it, Kelly was erratic the entire inning. He almost hit Bregman at one point. He went up 3-0. Personally, in my mind, I think when he got to 3-0, he said, screw it. I'm throwing at this guy. Like, I'm already 3-0. I'm probably walking him. He's a good hitter. So I'm just going to throw a ball over his head because, you know what?
I texted that to you too.
Yeah, it's the Astros. And everybody keeps wanting to say Joe Kelly wasn't on the 2017 Dodgers. You're correct. But he was on the 2017 Red Sox that the Astros knocked out of the playoffs. And guess what? Any single baseball player, it doesn't matter what team you're on, they're still all going to be pissed off because these teams cheated everybody. They cheated the game. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if Kelly was on the team or not. So, anyways, he almost hits Bregman. Fun fact that I feel like fans should know, especially Astro fans. I know they won't listen to this, but if Joe Kelly wanted to hit somebody, he would have hit somebody. He's a professional pitcher. He did not miss almost hitting Correa and Bregman all those times. If he wanted to put one in a player's ribs, a ball would have been put in a player's ribs. It could have taken him 2-3 times. It could have taken him 2-3 times, but everyone's saying he's headhunting. Trust me, if that guy wanted to hit someone, if a major league pitcher wants to hit someone, they're going to hit someone. I think Kelly was making a point. I think he was just going out there pretty much saying F it, F you guys. And then it just got worse. Bregman was on base. They got the ground ball. Kelly did not beat Brantley to the bag as Kelly's standing there covering first base. Dusty Baker, or at least that's who it sounds like, yelled it. It sounded like his voice. Somebody from the Astros yells, "Get back on the mound, little fucker," as Kelly's standing at first base. You could easily hear it on TV. Everybody heard it. So next at bat, Kelly almost hits Correa. It's an off-speed pitch. It was like an 86-mile-per-hour pitch. You could tell it wasn't intentional. If he's throwing at you, Kelly's hitting you with a 98, 99-mile-per-hour fastball. He's not hitting you with his off-speed. So, of course, fake tough guy Correa stares him down, pretends like it was intentional, whatever. Kelly strikes him out to end the inning, and I don't know if anything was said prior. I'm assuming not, but Kelly looks at him and says, "Nice swing, bitch." Don't know what Correa said at first, started saying stuff back. Kelly made the crying, whining faces at him, is laughing the entire time. He's going, "That shit was easy, fucking easy," like pretty much just saying you suck, like you're not going to beat us. Like, it was easy striking you out. You swung at a pitch in the dirt, blah, blah, blah. Correa, don't know what kind of point he was making. He sounds like a dumbass, but he's going, throw your fastball, throw your fastball. Like, no, what pitcher's going to throw you what you want to see? Like, hit what they're throwing at you. Anyways, Correa starts walking towards the dugout. Bench is cleared. Nothing happens because I think we all saw that coming. The Dodgers were smart enough. They only cleared the benches because they started coming towards their dugout. Otherwise, I don't think the players ever leave the bench to begin with. Then the bullshit ejection happens. Kelly's never ejected from the game. Roberts isn't ejected from the game. Yeah, both of them end up with suspensions. Kelly for 8 games, Roberts for 1. Roberts served his game last night, so he's done and over with. Part of me wished he would have managed the Astros game, but I can also understand that he probably just wanted to get this over with, because if he drags it out, it could have ended up being a game that he should have been managing, more important, in a week or two. Who knows? So he served that. Kelly is appealing. There's a lot of people that think MLB gave him the suspension to make a point, but that the appeal will get brought down because he wasn't even ejected from the game. You had players, former players, current players, guys like Mike Clevenger, Stroman, Weaver, all these different guys coming out saying this is bullshit. This is not a good suspension. MLB is a joke. What do you expect players to do? You're not punishing the Astros, yet you're going to punish people who are throwing at them but not even hitting them. Everybody's angry, as they should be, because it is, like I said, a bullshit suspension. He didn't hit anyone. He wasn't ejected from the game. He was erratic the entire night. You cannot definitively say he threw at him on purpose. Not to mention, MLB is going to go in there and say, oh, he was taunting Correa. Well, it's funny that no one seems to be in trouble for calling Kelly a little fucker, but Kelly taunting Correa and making faces at him apparently hurt the MLB's team Astros feelings, so he got busted for it. At the end of the day, I think it's pretty clear that Dodger fans are not upset with the suspension in regards to not having Kelly. We are a very deep team. We're going to be okay. I love Kelly. I like that he's out there, but we are going to be okay if we don't have him for 8 games. I think fans are just pissed off because MLB did nothing to the Astros. They didn't punish him. You cannot call what they did a punishment. MLB has done nothing but protect him. Manfred has been completely weak. He is not the one who puts out punishments. However, it is his fault that this is happening because he is the one that granted immunity for Astros players. He is the one that put the rule in play that we will be going hard on people who go after the Astros. So, blame always comes from the top. I think it starts at the top. Manfred's the problem. So his people underneath are also a problem, and following with that. There's really not much to say. I think all Dodger fans feel the same. It's forever and always going to be fuck the Astros and their entire fan base because they're all a joke. The organization's a joke. Their title's a joke. And it felt real damn good to go out there and beat them 2 games in a row. And I don't care what they have to say because Astro fans are saying, well, you didn't face our good pitching. Well, guess what? You faced our pitching and your hitters did absolutely nothing. So I don't want to hear that if you had better pitchers in there, you would have won because you couldn't even hit. And if you can't hit, it doesn't matter what you're putting on the mound because we would have scored. They would have found a way.
They can't hit because they don't know what's coming anymore.
Yep. Altuve's looking real shitty out there. I will say that. Dude looks awful out there not knowing what's coming.
Bregman, Altuve, Springer 0 for 22 the whole series. The only one that did anything was fucking Correa.
Yeah. So that whole team is an entire joke. MLB's laughing at them even more. I could not get over the fact that Astro fans thought Kelly was afraid of Correa because Correa hosts an MMA podcast, so apparently he's scary. I saw him punching a punching bag in his backyard, and the bag didn't even move. It, was barely moving. Cool, the dude has quick hands. That doesn't mean he's a fighter. And I think we've all seen Joe Kelly in action. That guy does not step down from anybody. Joe Kelly was not afraid of Carlos Correa. Joe Kelly struck out Carlos Correa and walked back to the dugout like Carlos Correa should have done. That's what happened. He didn't want to have any issues. He didn't want benches to clear. He didn't want to cause problems. He talked his shit like players do, and he walked back to the dugout. So, I think that's a huge mistake on MLB. I think this is actually going to do more damage than good. All they've done is piss off players and piss off fans even more. They could have just let the Dodgers have this one because he did not hit anybody and then make a strong case and go, hey, we saw what you did. If it happens again, the suspension is going to be insane. I would have been okay with that. But now all they've done is upset people and anger them even more, which now I think will carry this out even longer because if MLB is going to be strict this year about suspensions, players aren't forgetting. They're just going to wait till next year and do it when it's a 162 season game. Fans aren't going to forget. They're still going to show up in Houston next year and give their fans and that team hell the entire time they're there. Manfred could have let the Dodgers take this one and have cleared some of the tension, but in my opinion, all they did was make it worse.
Also, I just want to say really quickly before we move on, Correa and the Astros are fucking soft.
Yeah.
Okay? So what that Joe Kelly taunted you? There was a game last year where the pitcher for the Diamondbacks was taunting Jock Peterson. Jock just stood there in the batter's box, looked at him, and nodded his head.
Yeah, and then Cody
That's what players do. Just get it over with. Yeah.
Cody goes and does it the next time, and you don't hear the Diamondbacks didn't try to fight anyone. The pitcher was pissed, but he walked off the mound. It's part of the game.
They're grown-ass men. It's part of the game. This is what happens. Stop being soft. Correa, you're not tough. I will kick your ass personally. You can, and anybody who listens to this, you can send it to him, whoever. I don't care. I could kick your ass. You're nobody. You're nothing special. You're all soft. You're all weak. And this year is going to prove how terrible you guys really are. I hope you play the Yankees in the playoffs and Aaron Judge hits a 100-mile-an-hour fastball back at somebody. Okay, I'm done. Okay. I just want to get that off.
Yeah, I will say that if they're not going to hit him, I don't like to wish injury, but when it comes to the Astros, As long I don't want to see anyone get hit in the head because that can actually be serious damage. But if it just like ruins their season, I'm okay with it. Like if it breaks somebody's hand or whatever, I don't care because they did much more than ruin a season for lots and lots of players. But
they brought this on themselves. They
yeah.
didn't just.
No, if they would have
Hey, look,
apologized and
we were
not been
wrong.
assholes,
Apologize.
people
Yeah,
would have
but they
been mad.
continue to be dickheads about
Yeah,
it.
people would have been mad.
You tell people to get over it.
But you wouldn't have players out here going headhunting isn't a big deal. Like you literally have players almost defending it because of how poorly Correa did it. And it's such a weird line as a fan because I don't want to see anybody hurt, but I don't know what else you do in a situation like this. It's not football. You can't blindside hit somebody. The only way you can physically kind of have that moment is to throw at someone. And if a brawl comes out of it, that's fine too. They don't have to hit someone with a ball. Let Aaron Judge rush that mound and take out a pitcher. I don't care. I'm fine with that too. Like I don't know. Anyways, we're going to get on because I feel like we can go for this forever.
I would say another thing really fast is when Joe Kelly walked Alex Bregman, he threw over a bunch of times, but his throws were aimed at a particular part.
Oh, yeah. It is ribs.
I'm wishing that Muncy would have let one go, but it's okay.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Muncy didn't know what was going on there because, he did. Even the announcers.
It was so deliberate.
Even the announcers, even I think Oral had made a comment that he's throwing over, trying to hit Kelly's ribs because Oral was back in the day. In the 80s, that was way more intense than someone just trying to throw at your ribs while you're on the base. So, but yeah. Anyways, I think most fans are going to stand where we stand, and we'll face him again, I think, in September. All I know is we'll face him again in LA. All I want out of that, because I don't want suspensions, is gonna be too close to playoffs, and I don't want them to throw at a Dodger because I don't want to see any of our guys get hurt. So I just want to take those games from them and walk out with a season sweep. So with that said, because we got to get moving on, MLB news, expanded playoffs. Not happy about this. No one is. Don't really have to talk too much about it. On opening day, it's only for the 2020 season, so everybody knows. On opening day, MLB announced that there would be expanded playoffs this season. 16 teams will now make the playoffs, and there won't be a wild card game, but instead, all first-round games will be 3-game series at the home field of the team with the better record. Reason for this is there would be more money for the players. Apparently, they would now have a $50 million pool instead of $25 million like MLB initially offered. I think this is stupid. It could end up hurting the Dodgers a lot more this year. I get what MLB's doing, but Jesus Christ, there's only 30 teams. Why are more than 50% of them making the playoffs? Like, this isn't a participation trophy. This is professional baseball players. MLB should have just paid the players more and given them more in that pool and not gone this route. But again, 2020 has been weird. So as long as it stays here, I'll deal with it and I'll get over it. But I don't ever want to see this become a permanent thing.
They're going the basketball route. I'm not a fan of this. I don't know if it's really gonna hurt the Dodgers.
I mean, it's more games than they didn't need to play.
It is more games, but if they're the 1 seed, for instance, and they're playing, I don't know, the Phillies, if they can't beat the Phillies, that's on them, to be honest.
Yeah. No, they're the best team in baseball, right up there with probably the Yankees. They're easily the best team in the NL. Arguably the best team in baseball.
Have you seen the Twins' offense lately? My goodness.
Yeah, I do, because I have some of them on my fantasy team, so I know very well how they're doing.
I only have Josh Donaldson. He's the one doing the worst, so I'm not happy.
Yeah, I've got Nelson Cruz, and that dude is smashing the ball right now. But no, yeah, Twins too. Twins are very, very good hitting team. Very good team all around. So any team that the Dodgers lose to, it's on them because they should be out there beating any team. And baseball, I feel like, is one of the very few sports that you can't really rig it. So when the Dodgers lose, it really does not fall on anybody but them.
Yeah.
Last thing to talk about is probably the worst thing to talk about because we don't know what it will mean for the season come down the line, even a week from now. But the Marlins had an outbreak in their camp. It was announced on Monday that an COVID outbreak happened within the Marlins camp. And as of today, there's about 17 different players or staff members who have tested positive. Marlins haven't played a game since Sunday and won't play again until Monday. Phillies now aren't playing until Monday as well because they faced the Marlins in their first series over that weekend. And as of today, a clubhouse staff member for the Phillies and a coach have tested positive. The experts had told the Phillies that if any positive tests are going to show up from their time with the Marlins, it is going to start showing up between Thursday and Sunday. So this weekend will be huge. If this spread ends up going to the Phillies and they end up having 15 players, we're going to see just how bad this can really get and how much they can really kind of break the entire season with one team getting this. Luckily, they caught it before the Marlins went and played anywhere else. It sounds like the Marlins were being complete idiots. I don't know if this is true, but if it is, MLB needs to do something about it. But if the rumor is true that they went to a strip club after they played in Atlanta for their exhibition games, MLB needs to do something. That is not okay. That is a difference between like your family member coming over and something happening. But if players are out going to strip clubs with all of this going on, there can't be a baseball season. So I hope that MLB handles this the correct way if that is true. It sounds like they're putting more measures into place. Teams are they're not going to have players wear cloth masks. They will be wearing surgical masks. Teams are going to now have compliance officers that are going to be helping them. So hopefully they have this figured out. MLB should have done all this before it even got to this point to begin with. But it could get messy. So this weekend's going to be very important, I think, for the sport. We already have 4 teams. The Nationals, the Blue Jays, Phillies, and Marlins will not be playing baseball this weekend. So that is now an entire week for the Marlins, and I think an entire week for the Phillies, that they will not be having games. And that's just not good because to some extent they will have to make some of, if not all, games up. And if they don't, what does that mean for playoffs? Some teams talk about percentages. I don't like that idea because if you play less games and you had a hot streak, your percentage is going to be higher even if you played 10 less games. So I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they figure it out. The entire thing is a mess. I guess this is the good thing, though, about not intermixing divisions, like keeping it all East, all Central, and all West, is that spread will not leave the East. So the Central and the West will not be affected by it. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Tampa Bay, Orioles, I can't even think of who else, but everyone else, the Braves, the Mets, they're all still playing. They're all still good to go. So they're still all getting their games in. If I'm the Phillies, Nationals, or Blue Jays, I'm pretty pissed off at the Marlins that this has all happened because they're now taking away those games from them and they did not break protocol. They just happen to be kind of like the side effect of all of this. So, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. It's messy.
I don't know what's going to happen either, but I had brought this up to you earlier. The Blue Jays and Nationals are already playing each other. I think they should just continue to play each other. You have to, I don't know when they play each other again in the schedule, but whenever that comes up, you just have to swap it. Just so at least those teams can still play. The Phillies and Marlins will figure it out. I feel bad for the Phillies because they're just exposed because the Marlins decided to be stupid if the story's true.
Yeah.
So I think the Blue Jays and the Nationals continue playing, whether it be at Nationals Park or they go down to Buffalo. So the Blue Jays can have 2 home games or whatever the case may be. I don't know how the schedule shakes out, but they should continue to play each other until things clear up or until the next series where they're playing somebody that's not infected or affected by what's going on.
Yeah, I think they could make it work. I don't know why they're not doing that because they did do that with the Yankees and the Orioles this week. They swapped out games so they could play. I don't know if there's more that we don't know about. I think the whole home and away thing is I know they have it on the schedule. I think it's partially irrelevant. There's no fans. If anything, you have home field advantage because you get your clubhouse locker room and you know the field. But this is 2020. Things are weird. If no team can truly be the home team or you lose home games out of it, but you get to have your games, then I think that's what MLB needs to do. because it's the only way to keep this fair throughout all three divisions right now, 3 divisions. So who knows? We'll see. I hope by next week we are still talking about baseball games going on, because there's a lot of health experts that think MLB is very close to pushing that line where they're not going to be able to keep playing.
Hey,
so
look, just cut the East off and let the Central and West continue playing.
Hey, yeah, we're not the problems. It's funny too, because we the friggin' West has so many hot zones in it. You got Texas, Southern California, like
Arizona.
But we're figuring it out. Sounds like everybody in the West so far is being safe. There's been no positive tests in the Central either. So let's just hope it stays that way and our guys keep playing baseball. With that said, I've got nothing else. Do you have anything you need to say?
Nope.
All right. With that said, we hope you guys have a good night, day, whatever. When you listen to this, we'll catch you next week. Dodgers play the Diamondbacks tonight. We got Ross Stripling on the mound. So let's just get these wins right now. I don't care how we get them. Figure it out. Get the hitting going, pitching, keep doing your thing. And let's keep it going, because those Rockies are putting on a show right now. They've only lost 1 game. So we've got to.
Padres.
Yeah, Padres are looking real good too. So NL West is looking real good. Everybody always wants to talk about how NL West is the weakest division yet. The NL West and AL West have been playing each other. And if you look at the standings, the NL West is easily outplaying the AL West. So NL West is looking really strong right now. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. I like playing the Diamondbacks. Hopefully we get to play Bumgarner, I'd imagine. So it's a 4-game series. Haven't looked yet when he'd be pitching, but
he just pitched yesterday.
Oh, then never mind. Wait, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep, never mind. Well, guess we won't be playing against him. I don't know if we'll be going back to Arizona either, so I don't know if Muncy can tell him to go get it out of the pool, but hopefully he can tell someone else to do that. Would love for Muncy to find his bat. So with that said, please leave those reviews and ratings for the podcast. We appreciate it. And again, you can find all of our social at Dodger Yard, and you can find me at Randy_Radcliffe.
And you can find me at Michael Cronin.
And we will catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.